I really just needed to do a makeup look that reminded me that I do in fact know how to do makeup. So then I saw this look on TikTok and I saved it so fast and knew I needed to recreate. Obviously the contrast with the white in her skin tone pops so much more than mine, but I'm still obsessed with this look. So I'm going to show you how to do it. You're going to start off with an eyeshadow primer as usual. I'm going to be using the About Face primer, but whatever you like will work. Now, just a disclaimer, she did not show us how to do that look, so she could have gone about it a completely different way, and probably there's some different steps that I could have done, but I was just kind of winging it, I'm not gonna lie, but again, the end result is really all that matters. It's not about the journey. I wanted to give my eyeshadows a little bit of a deeper base to start working with, so I'm taking this cream eyeshadow by About Face, and it really just kind of neutralized my eyelids and gave them like a shade or two darker, if even that. This might have not been necessary. Honestly, I thought it would go on darker, but it's fine. All products and shade names and everything will be listed down below. But I just applied that all over, almost up to the brow bone, and just blended that out with that same brush. And then the really only non-drugstore product I think that I'm using in this video, for the most part, is MAC eyeshadow in Cork. I just thought that the tone of this was really similar to what she was using, but any like neutral, slightly warm, but not too warm brown will be really all you need. But I'm just taking a flat shader brush and I'm really packing that on the lid. We will do a lot of packing, applying the white shadow, packing more shadow on. It's just gonna be a process. But once you get that nice and packed onto the lid as much as you would like, I'm going to blend it up into the crease. Now, when I say I blend it up into the crease, it is almost essentially to my eyebrow, because we are gonna add the white in there and it's gonna make sense, but you wanna take this as high as possible. If you're like me and you have a lot of space in your crease, take it up really high. If you have less space in your crease, take it up really high. Regardless, it needs to go to the brow bone. Once I feel good about the crease color, I am going to take that same shadow and same brush and really put it on the inner part of my crease. This is going to make the white pop, having a deeper contrast right next to it on the inner corner. So I did about 3 layers of this, and same thing with that, I am blending it up into the brow so it kind of fades into it nicely. Also, if you guys have seen my videos in the past, then you typically know I just do zoomed in one eye video, but if you like seeing both eyes better, let me know. Obviously, it's a longer video. But anyways, now we're gonna go in with some eye makeup remover. And essentially what I'm doing here is I'm doing a rough draft of the shape that we're gonna do. Doing this is gonna allow the lighter base to truly be a lighter base and not mix with that brown shadow that we laid down before. If they mix, it's gonna get kind of muddy, and again, you don't have to be perfect, just remove as much as you can. I'm just using a flat brush and I just kind of wipe it and then wipe it off on my hand, and then I take my finger just to kind of blend the edges and remove any residue of that remover. Now with a liner brush, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just creating the shape that I will be doing later on, but I'm using the eye makeup remover and removing majority of that product. This is where I'm like, I could have done this differently, but I was already in the middle of doing it, so I don't care to pop in some remover to remove some of that brown. But also, I think if you do the white and then try to add the brown in, that will be a little difficult, so just find what technique works for you. Now, I did not have a true white base, so this is the Juvia's Place eye primer in the lightest shade, and it is pretty dang close to white, but a white would have saved me a couple steps later on. But just really use what you have and you can make it work. So with that same brush, as you can see, I coated both sides of the brush and really just kind of flattened it out, so I'm working with the thinnest brush possible, and I'm just creating that shape. This step right here is going to take the longest out of the entire look, is perfecting the white, because obviously that is the main focus of the look. You want it to be perfect. If you are someone that has been blessed with perfectly symmetrical eyelids, then this step will be very easy for you. But for me, my eyelids are uneven. My right eye is almost like a little bit more flat and more hooded. So it takes me a lot more time to do these type of cut creases because I need to make them look even, because my eyes are not. But as you can see, I just applied that product mostly just on that very inner corner, and then I took a big flat, like fluffy shader brush and diffused the edges out. But again, take your time, try and make this as perfect as possible, because I promise you, people will notice if they are not perfectly symmetrical. I hate to say it, but these type of looks, they've got to be perfect. And again, here I'm just blending out those edges pretty much on top of the brown, but we're gonna go back in with that brown and reapply. So where I didn't use a white base because I didn't have one, I'm taking a white liner and I'm going really just along that cut crease line to make that super, super bright. So just take whatever white liner you use. This one's by Morphe. I do like it, and just apply that across that line. But like I said, if you went in with a true white base, then you could skip this step and probably even skip the eyeshadow step. Now I'm going to take a white eyeshadow. This one is from the ColourPop Stone Cold Fox, and it is one of the brightest and whitest whites that I have. So I'm going to take a really small flat brush, and I'm putting that basically like we did with the eyeliner. It is more along the edge of that cut crease versus bringing it onto the lid, so it'll fade a lot nicer. I did do about 2 layers of this to make it nice and bright, but honestly, the deeper your skin tone, the more that this white is really going to pop and stand out. Now we want to bring back the brown because we definitely did cover up a lot of the lid. So I'm going to take that same flat brush and the cork shade, and I'm applying that starting on the outer corner, and then I'm working my way in so it kind of starts darker on the outer corner and then gets lighter as we go in because we want it to fade nicely. You can also go back in with the white shadow if you find that you're not getting a good blend. Now onto the tricky part, which is the wing. So I'm using that same Juvia's Place primer and a small liner brush. This one is by Glisten Cosmetics. And I can't really explain what I'm doing. I'm just doing what you see right here. I will say, as far as the direction of the wing, it's going to really depend on your eye shape. I feel like hers was very angled up towards like the tail of her brow, and it was really long, versus me, that tends to bring my eyes down or really enhance the hooded eyes that I have. So mine is a little bit straighter and it's not as long. So you can completely tweak this however you would like, but honestly, doing this with an eye primer, you can blend it away pretty easily if you mess up, which is what I did. And then I did bring it about halfway in on the lid as well. You can just wipe your lashes off. It's no big deal if it gets on there, but you just want to make sure to do that little swoop that I did on the outer corner. So to make it nice and sharp, I just took a different brush with no product on there, and you can see just again where it's an eye primer, it just immediately cleaned itself up. Just take my finger, blend out the edges, and it's perfect. So then I'm going to set it with that same white eyeshadow from the ColourPop palette. You definitely want to set it, especially if you have more hooded eyes or you have a crease right there, because you don't want it to crease. So you can really see the difference with the wing and without the wing. The wing honestly just ties everything together. So now we're going to do the actual darker wing. So I'm going to take a dark brown from that same ColourPop palette and an angled brush, and this is kind of where I tweaked it a little bit. If you look at her picture, she has a really long wing, and it also goes all the way to the inner corner of the eye. So I only did like the outer half of the eye, and I did a little bit of a shorter wing. As you can see, I kind of messed it up, but I'm not too worried about it because I could easily clean it up. So I also brought this part about halfway in. I feel like for me and my eye shape, if I take the brown all the way across, it can definitely close off my eyes. But then with a little bit of concealer, you just fix that wing and it's like you never messed up. And this combo right here is so beautiful. And here you can just watch me do the same thing on the other eye. To really give your eyes that cat eye look, you want to do the inner corner point. I will say this does not suit everyone's eye shape. Honestly, it's not even the most flattering on me, but obviously for the look, I'm going to do it. But I'm just taking that same gray shadow because I do feel like you have a little bit more flexibility with a shadow versus going in with a liner. And I'm just kind of extending it to meet up with my lower lash line. Now we're going to go in and do the brow bone highlight. Her brow bone was so bright and white. I did make mine pretty bright, but definitely I could have done a couple more layers, but I was happy with this level of brightness. So I took that same white liner, drew a line, blended it out, did it again, blended it out, and then really packed on the white shade from the ColourPop palette. And she also extended hers almost like past her tail. I definitely stopped at my tail and hardly went past it. I just think with my eye shape that looks better. Obviously lashes are a must with this, so I'm just popping on some mascara. This one is the Ilia one, and I'm popping on my House of Lashes Iconic Lights, which I've been wearing for so many years, but that is the completed look. I hope you guys enjoyed, and let me know if there's any other creators looks you want me to create because this was so fun.